Benvenuti e benvenuto a un nuovo episodio di Actually, il podcast di Will che parla del cambiamento, che sembra arrivare piano piano e poi ci travolge tutto d'un tratto. We are live, we are at the Tech Week. This is the last session of Tech Week, Italian Tech Week 2025. I'm alone today in Riccardo Haupt. Didn't join me. He had a last minute problem. But then I said, I can't go on the stage alone. And so I had to find another Riccardo. And I'm very happy to have Riccardo Breccia from Cafe Design Podcast here.
Thank you.
on
Thank you for having
Actually.
me. Yeah.
I think you're the perfect person to be on the podcast with me because what you cover on Cafe Design, it's very similar to what we cover on Actually. We talk about business, we talk about technology a lot, and you talk about the design side of what we talk about. So it's gonna be a nice crossover, I think. And
So you said that you scroll your iPhone contact list looking for another Ricardo.
looking for Ricardos, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we're gonna do today, it's a recap of everything that happened
Yeah.
in these 3 days. So people were here. Jeff Bezos was on this stage a few minutes ago. Ursula von der Leyen was also on this stage a few hours ago, and people might have missed a lot of things. What we do on Actually, as you probably know, is we talk about all the latest news and we try to give our perspective on what's happening. And to start, I think we can cover this news that came out yesterday, and it's OpenAI that became the most valuable company in the world. This is huge news. This is crazy. They are valued more than SpaceX right now. They reached $500 billion valuation, and it's nice to see how this brief company that was born a few years ago, it's now exploding. We've been covering everything that it's happening, and in order to cover this news, I want to show you this video, and it's something that I really didn't expect, and I found online all the newsletters that I'm reading and all the podcasts that I'm covering, and they were talking about the first attempt of OpenAI to get into branding. This is one of the first commercials that OpenAI aired in the since they launched ChatGPT. Actually, there was one. There was one during the Super Bowl,
in the Super
right?
Bowl. Yeah, right.
But that was completely different from this one. Did you see it?
Yeah, this is very interesting actually because we are talking about a very techy and very technical company. And the last attempt that you are talking about, the commercial Super Bowl, is very techy. Is
There were bits going
yeah,
around.
bits. They're talking about the history of the data and the intelligence. Now we are looking here on a very different way at looking this technology. This is a very understandable context. This is a guy there
Show it again.
is doing a date with a girl and asked ChatGPT to suggest just a receipt in order to impress her. Very simple, very understandable, and very actually warm and emotional
Yeah,
way
it's
of
relatable.
Exactly. It's very relatable. As you can see here, we saw the prompt, the situation, the context, and how their technology is working in the real world. So I think it's a very bold and very interesting way of sharing their values.
Yeah, probably because the early adopters are already in the technology. They are using it every day. Now what they miss, it's like a normal guy doing
Yeah.
a normal stuff. And so this is just for those who are watching the advertising, the commercial. This is just one of many versions that they did. There's one with a guy doing
Yeah.
pull-ups, and it's asking ChatGPT to be prepared to do an X amount of pull-ups in the future. And this is, I think, it's very interesting, and it's related to the next thing that we're gonna cover. That it's this OpenAI expansion, because you briefly mentioned that OpenAI right now needs a different branding. They they conquered with this minimalistic way of presenting themselves. They conquered the early adopters, and now they need something else. The projections of the revenues are very high, and there's one that it's very interesting, that it's the new products. And this week we've seen something interesting, that it's ChatGPT Pulse.
Yeah, this is very interesting actually because if you think about it, ChatGPT is very minimal, is very essential as an interface. The homepage, which is the part that show their product, is just a bar with a text with a text box, you know.
Yeah, it's this one.
It's this one. Yeah, simple. It works, but if you think about it, there's no branding here. It's just minimal. And as a designer, you need to show your brand when the competition usually is growing. And
I think
the competition needs
they
to,
feel the pressure now.
yeah, maybe they feel the pressure. So they introduced this product, Pulse, that shows a little bit of a new branding with illustration, with color, with something else. Maybe even the voice and the other kind of interfaces will change in the future because they need to show how this interface will pop up in your life. And also, this is very interesting as a UX designer, so designer that works in the user experience field, that this is a different approach compared to what we are used to know. Because right now, you ask something, and ChatGPT will answer you back. In this way, they will give you, they will anticipate something, even if you didn't ask anything, because they will know you so good that the way they will help you to solve something, even if they didn't, if you didn't ask anything.
Yeah, so they're passing from passive experience to an active
Exactly.
experience. So what ChatGPT Pulse does is that each morning it shows you a recap of something that you've been interested about for the in that period of your life. So if you want to organize, let's say, a trip to
Yeah.
the Hawaii's, they're gonna tell you all the best things that you can do. They're gonna tell you which day the prices are going up and in which days they're going down, and they're suggesting different things that you can do. And this is interesting because, as you as you're saying, even the slides, the design of the slides shows that. But this very colorful way of approaching a homepage, it's much better than a one that
Yeah.
it's asking you to do an action.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't know if that happens to you, when you look for a prompt, it's even hard to articulate what you're actually looking for. So it's interesting, this passive to
Yeah.
active experience.
Also, because we can see here we have a suggestion box, but these just explain you what they can do, not what you should do. Because on the other page, we saw suggestion based on your interest, based on your personality, on your last research. So it's a completely different way of interaction with the user. And also, that reminds me, but probably we will talk about this later. That reminds me, you know, the first home pages of the browsers, not the browser, like Virgilio, AOL, you know, the homepage which was
Portals.
the portals, which were full, or MSN, you know, that kind of
Yeah.
experiences, were full about things that you may like, and also commercial, also ADVs, you know. But this probably is your next homepage, your next starting point of the day.
Yeah, this is interesting because we're going to talk about AI companions later in the episode, and this goes in a way in that direction. But before that, there's an interesting article that I've read. There's this newsletter that we read each week in order to create that it's called Benedict Evans newsletter. And the other day he was mentioning ChatGPT Pulse launch, and he said that until now all the attention was on distribution. So all the companies were looking for the most distribution possible in order to win the competition. we know that Anthropic was going to look for a deal with Apple in order to have their huge distribution for
Grow
the
faster
product.
also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then we have Google, that it's putting Gemini inside their Google Workspace by default in order to have a broader distribution. Clearly, OpenAI went big on Microsoft, that we know has the biggest software as a service ever, that it's Microsoft Office. And what Benedict Evans was saying is that we're changing right now, and it's not about distribution anymore, but probably at some point, all these chatbots will be a commodity. So you're not gonna pay for the mere fact of accessing ChatGPT 5, but you're gonna pay for the applications built on top of ChatGPT 5. And ChatGPT Pulse, it's one of the first products that's gonna do that, and probably that you're gonna pay for in the future. And there's another one that I want your take on, that it's Sora 2. But before going there,
Yeah.
there's a middle path, because while looking at Tech Twitter, that is another place that we that we go around a lot, I found this interesting tweet by this user that was looking at the announcement that Sam Altman did, and he said it's clear that their next move, it's going all in on advertisement, and we know that advertisement, it's I wrote it there, the most beautiful business model of all time. Google kind of invented the advertisement business model on the internet. Meta expanded it, and they both created huge companies on top of that. And looks like Sam Altman and OpenAI are going in that direction. And that's where Sora 2 comes in, because what I mentioned was Meta, that it's leveraging advertisement to scale their social media, and now we have Sora. Sora, do you want to explain what Sora is?
Well, Sora, it may look like just the model that help people to create videos and audio in a very realistic and easy way. You just prompt something and it creates a video. But this is just the surface. What maybe we can discover connecting the dots is that probably they can create contents based on your interest. Maybe let's envision this scenario where every day we open ChatGPT, we have a splash screen, we have a home page with this pulse, with your suggestion of the day, weather, whatever your interest, and maybe we have a YouTube channel that doesn't exist, that is created by AI with generative video with Sora, or maybe you have news video about the news feed or podcast with the fake Riccardo, about business, about creativity, about whatever you want to, whatever you are interested in that moment, created from zero, from scratch with Sora. So if you're going a little bit back and take a look at the big picture, you have different products, a very wide family of products that connect in this new homepage, let's say, that makes absolutely sense.
Yeah, and this is actually what Sam Altman announced in his letter, in which he was announcing Sora 2. He mentioned this new social media that they are creating, and this is something that it's weird, because we know there's one company that wants social media, basically, that it's Meta.
Yeah.
Everyone else that it's trying to do social media, it's losing. X, it's trying to do something different, but we know the numbers are going down. They're trying to integrate with an AI, with Grok, replying to comments, but as of now, it feels very, very weird. By the way, we have an episode on that coming soon, and OpenAI is trying to do something similar to what Meta is doing by creating this social media that it's basically a full synthetic synthetic social media, full synthetic content social media. And what you have seen, experienced during these days, if you were going around Twitter, was seeing all these images of fake Sam Altman doing different stuff. In these videos, there's one in which he is stealing some GPUs from Target. I don't know if you've seen it, and he actually tweeted that it's way less strange to watch a feed full of memes of yourself than I thought it would be. But something else that it reminded me, this Sam Altman announcement. It's this tweet from Alexander Wang. You may probably know Alexander Wang. It's the guy that cost Meta 14 billions. He was his company basically was bought. It was a huge investment, but was bought by Zuckerberg, and Zuckerberg put Alexander Wang at the head of the superintelligence team. And the other day, Alexander Wang announced something similar. On the Meta AI app, you can now see a full synthetic media, synthetic content feed. That is something that Meta never did. You know, Meta was always about human connections. At some point, they changed the algorithm, and that it killed a lot of media companies. But that's another story. But this, it's something that it's huge. No, did you expect to have a feed that it was full of synthetic content?
Probably it's gonna be the future. And when we will see that future, probably will be totally normal, totally, you won't discover, you won't find the difference between a real content and a synthetic content. Now you can feel that, and probably if we will if we will take a look to the comment, we will see that they are not very happy and the vibe is completely off. This wanted to be like a very nice and beautiful way of scrolling with amazing contents, but the vibe is completely off. And this, as you can see in the first comment, these are like zero soul, which is correct. Yeah.
You think so? I have a different perspective on this. Because today, when you get on TikTok, for example, you get an experience that it's basically made on your last interaction with the platform. And sometimes you get on the platform and you're looking for something different than the last time that you visited the platform. And so I think that having the possibility to have a feed that shows you exactly what you want in that moment could be something. And this also reminds me of sports betting. So I recently found out that in sports betting, you can actually bet on real games, or you can bet on virtual games.
Okay.
And the experience it's exactly the
Really
same. And what they are giving you, it's what you want to do in that moment. So in that moment, you want to bet on something, and you don't really care if it's a real game or a fake game, and they're still giving you reasons to bet. For example, if you want to bet in the morning, it's hard to find something. Then you have a whole another set of problems that comes from that. But I think these first impressions, for sure, are something. But we may enter a future in which we're gonna interact with a social platform in a different way. And also, first impressions sometimes they don't really matter. This, for example, it's Sam Altman announcement of ChatGPT, and this guy saying it's the worst product concept so far. It's clearly it ended very badly for that comment. But yeah, I feel like in the future, we may see something different from the human-generated content that we are used to right now. And this guy, Casey Newton, if you're not following his newsletter, you should be doing so. He's the author of Platformer. He was an ex-editor of The Verge. He was talking about how Meta was launching synthetic social media a year and a half ago. So he knew that was coming, and he did sort of a similar analysis than the one that I reported a few moments ago. And this brings us to the AI companions and to a view that you're very attached to, that is the presentation of the Humane Pin.
This is interesting. From the design point of view, it's very interesting because we have the technology and we are trying different ways to find the best form of this technology in our life. And we probably we'd like to use this technology on a different device in order to use it every day because the phone does a lot of things. And maybe in this idea of super technology of or operation system based on AI, we'd like to have a different device. Also because if you think about it, in terms of user experience, if we envision the idea of Pulse, you don't need a contact list that you have on the phone. You just need to call someone.
Yeah.
You don't need a calendar. You just need to ask, what are you doing? You don't need everything. You don't need all the things that you have on the phone that will that ask you an action. So probably the idea of replace a phone is the good idea.
And then
Now-
the factor feels so
Exactly. The problem is that they are not. They didn't find yet the right form of this. Humane is the first company that tried to give this a new form factor. They failed. Really bad. The product
a
was
lot of money, and
was-
then they
yeah.
were sold to HP for.
Exactly. The form, the experience was very bad of the industrial product. The vibe again here was very off. The branding was very high and probably not very humane.
Okay.
And the technology wasn't there, which was the most important thing. They promised a lot of things, and the technology wasn't there. But we now have different way of approaching this form. We know that Sam Altman is working with Johnny Ive, which is the creator of the design of the iPhone. And I don't know what they're creating at the moment. Maybe it's something that you wear on your wrist, something that you wear on your neck, in your head. We don't know. And I don't know if we have another example here. Yeah, okay, the rabbit, which is a completely different way of a completely different form factor. This is interesting for many reasons. The first one is that this is very original. This is recognizable, which in this field is very important. The color, the interface. The interface is something that we never seen. And the interaction. We have a scrolling wheel on the side, it's very compact. Again, also here, the technology wasn't there, but at least
In the first version.
in the first version.
This was released a few days ago.
Yeah.
It's the RabbitOS 2, and when we were preparing the episode, you told me this changes everything.
Yeah,
So it's not about having that little rabbit that was talking with you like a Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an international thing or an Italian thing, the Tamagotchi. But this completely changes the operating system of this AI companion.
yeah. And this opened the field about make it recognizable. For the company, it's very important to being recognizable on the aesthetic, on the industrial design part, and also on the digital design part.
The hardware and the software.
Exactly. It's
And what about
absolutely super
this
important.
software? What is that makes this software different from what we've seen before?
The homepage is a completely different experience. It's based on cards. It's not anymore icons, colors, and fonts. Completely different. And also, you navigate with this scrolling wheel, physical scrolling wheel, which is a different experience again. And we also have just one button, the talk button.
Yeah.
I don't think personally this is the best way but it's very interesting that they found a way. This is made by a very famous design studio, Teenage Engineering, with
Okay.
a London-based.
They're the one that made the nothing phone.
Exactly. Exactly. They are very recognizable, and did a very good job.
Yeah. The only problem is that you told me that the best interaction would be to only have the voice. And here I'm going back to the tabs, that it's something different from the applications that
Yeah.
we're normally used to, but it's still something that we can tap and we interact with.
Yeah.
So my question is, do you think it's still too early for audio-only form factors?
Yeah.
And the following question is, do you think Johnny Ive it's doing something that it's in the middle ground between an iPhone and something that only hears what you're saying?
And this is very interesting because this, for someone, is a step back. Because we said probably in the future we just need to talk and the software will give us the information. Since now the technology is not there yet, they create an interface which is familiar, which is something that you can recognize and you can use, which is very important. When you create something disruptive, you need a step in the middle to help user understand the change and being able to do the next step. So this may look like a step back, but they look at the feedback, and the previous interaction was difficult and the technology again wasn't there. And sorry for answering the last question. Is Johnny Ive will Johnny Ive be able to create the device that will replace the iPhone? Personally, I don't think so, because Johnny Ive is a master of design, but not really good in terms of user experience. So the device will be amazing from a technical level, but probably not. I'm not sure that will be that useful.
Yeah, we'll see if Sam Altman can stand up to Steve Jobs' legacy. After this slide, you put some other examples of new softwares that are going in the direction of creating something different from what we had before, and something that looks forward to where we are going with these new form factors. One is the liquid glass by
Yeah. They introduced the liquid glass in, I think, June,
Yeah.
which was a different way of approaching their interface. It was a big step, very interesting. Everything is moving, everything is translucent. We are we are tracing a new trend, which is not focused on the user experience anymore. It's not focused on make the interface easy to use, but more focused on being recognizable again, as we said.
And then probably it goes into this direction. So having a device that can show you some elements in on the screen by having them blended with reality. And so what I heard from one of your podcasts is that this liquid glass experience that we were mentioning before, it's something that is very similar to what we're going to experience in the future when we're going to use these new glasses that probably are going to be the computing platform.
So far, it's a bit weird now. On our phone, it's a bit weird. It's not very readable. It's not very usable.
It's going to make
probably
sense
in the future, when we will have maybe a different form factor, I don't know, and maybe other products will make sense.
Yeah, and then we have something that goes in a different direction from Google and from nothing. We mentioned nothing before. What about those two?
It's very clear that they are very different. They're different between each other, but they're very different with Apple. They are very recognizable, very iconic, very, as they said, expressive. They used a lot this term because they care about showing yourself. When you
being human in the age of AI.
Yeah. A year ago, 10 years ago maybe, the interface needed to be functional, as we said. Now they need to show you your expression, your emotion, your personality, as you can see here. This is very recognizable. Even if outside, as you can see, the display is the same of the iPhone, same aspect ratio. When the screen is off, probably you won't get any differences. In fact, in the last iPhone, I don't have it here. If you think about it, when you lock it, the screen is still on
No way.
because
that.
you need to. They want to show that device, even if it's off, is an iPhone, and it's not a different.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's something completely different. And then we have this. We're gonna go brief on this. Everyone in the audience
Yeah.
probably knows it. But you said something interesting when we were mentioning everything, and you said we cannot mention the AI glasses. Probably everyone has seen them, but you had a different take
Yes.
on these glasses.
You know why this is very interesting?
Why?
Because they got the right position. This position for an AI device is perfect. They can see what you see. They can hear what you hear. They can communicate with you in the right position. And they also have a very brilliant and very techy device to control this interface. You will need a sensor. They create, these bands, Wills bands that understand your, I don't know really the technology, your nerves. Not really sure, not sure. It works, but it works in a very familiar and easy to use experience. This is very interesting. Also, Apple, the rumor says that they're working on AirPods with cameras because
That's interesting.
because they have the AirPods, which is a very popular product. If they add cameras, they will try to get in the right position as Meta is doing. You know, they're watching, they're hearing.
They have the whole chain because they have the Apple Watch, and then
Exactly.
and then they have the AirPods. I get where they're going, and I remember a few years ago someone was saying that the computing platform of the future could be AirPods. Skeptical on that.
Yeah.
But like if you integrate everything together, you can probably kill the iPhone. You said everything works fine, not always. There's the video of Zuckerberg not the Zuckerberg demo not working, and then I think I want your take on one last thing, because this week
Si.
something else was announced. I didn't tell you that, and was Elon Musk announcing Grokkipedia, a different version of Wikipedia. He said that Wikipedia it's too much on the left side of the political spectrum, so he wanted to create a new way of creating Wikipedia. We're not gonna enter in this speculation.
Political, yeah.
He didn't announce anything on that, but I want your take as a designer on the current
On Wikipedia,
interface. Yeah.
Uh,
UX designer.
actually, it's not that bad.
You don't think that?
No, it's not.
Let's start from the logo.
Well, yeah, it's not. It shows the age, It shows all the years. Yeah, the logo is not very good. Also, yeah, the payoff in the logo, the free encyclopedia, and yeah, the interface works. If it was my client, I will have done a different job on the spaces and hierarchy. Probably I will add icons, but it's simple. I wanted to be simple, so it's not bad. It's like Comic Sans. It's Comic Sans. It's not bad. They said that it's ugly because it's not modern, but it works.
It works.
It works.
Probably we are so used to this interface that they don't really want to change it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like the boomers that are getting into Wikipedia would have a hard time to find the information if they would change the interface. So at the end of the day, what's the grade you would give from 1 to 10?
Ah, great. It's an 8. It's
an 8.
good.
It's an
It's
8,
good.
yeah.
It's fine.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much for this episode. Before closing, we're at the Tech Week. This is the last session. You've been here for the last 3 days. It seemed like a full week. What's your take on the event? What's the most interesting thing that you...
The most interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most insightful?
Okay, I will say, since I am a startupper, I'm a startup, probably will say the dream to change the world. I met a lot of startups.
Yeah.
I loved the passion and the idea of create something big that only here I saw.
Yeah, the caveat in that is that, as Paul Graham always saying, make something people want. So
Yeah.
it's good to have this this willingness to change the world, but then in order to do that, you have to make something that people want. And as Jeff Bezos said before, you always have to look at at what your customer needs are and only care about those needs. Thank you very much for being on
Thank you.
Actually, and thank you for this crossover between Actually and Cafe Design.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.